Yeah.
Van Glorious, Van Gogh.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United Front. What you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square solid and your circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick a can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And UF with KBA is a win-win. 1K.
Bored up, son.
All right, peace and black power, family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Alive. We have the honor and privilege today to walk through a history of hip hop with one of the greatest minds to ever come together with a design. We get Gemini season early because we got both of these Geminis on the same platform at the same time. A May Gemini and a June Gemini together. Let our powers combine. You understand what I'm saying? So we got the cosmic revolutionary G-Funk, one who was on the horizon, watching everything unfold, and is still around to tell us about it. So we got hip-hop history, got a legend in the building, an amazing contribution to the art form that everybody claims to love now. So let's welcome to the platform the man, the myth, the legend. The glove is in the building. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you. How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself? How you feeling today? What's going on in that calendar?
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we got a little delay going on, but we're gonna work through it. How that California sunshine treating you out there?
Man, look, it's a beautiful thing, man. Sorry for the rest of the world, but it is so sunny and warm. I think it's 80.
We are not mad at that.
It's cold in the studio, right?
So we go on this cosmic voyage, this fantastic voyage back in the day. You know, what was the deciding factor for you to get involved from the elemental perspective as a DJ before becoming a producer?
So in 1979, when I decided to become a DJ, the only producers were like, they were groups like Steely Dan. Like I didn't know, who was producing them or who was producing Journey or the Eagles. They were the groups. It was no producer culture yet. So with the lack of that, there was no any culture, even DJ culture. So I chose to be a DJ that didn't exist really. I mean, it was there and I wasn't aware, in an alternate reality called Brooklyn and the Bronx and, all those great places I had never even heard of. I just heard New York when I was 17. I didn't hear nothing else. Then I had to develop the putting together the turntables and stuff. So since there was no type of a production aspect to even reach for, it was DJ. I wanted to play hip music. That's why I DJ.
So in Can we talk about the DJ's influence in the mixing and the introducing of sound? Because you existed in the time where there were no directives to sound. So the only sounds that the world heard is whatever you pushed out. You see what I'm saying? So, and especially on the West Coast, you see what I'm saying? So that education, what was that transition like for you? You know, going from providing the sound and then breaking in new sound. How was that?
So yeah, that's a good question. So absolutely. So as a DJ, I graduated quickly to going from a regular DJ at a house party to being what's called a Billboard reporter, which there's only 2 in each city. When you're a Billboard reporter, you get every record ever made before first. You get them test pressings, you get them with no labels on them. The record executive comes to your house to ring them. I used to get 1,000 records a week in the mail. So I was known for breaking records. I broke Beatbox. I broke Buffalo Gals out here the same time it broke in New York. It was the same. I didn't know. I was unaware. I got the record when they released it. They didn't give it to them first. They gave it to us. So I broke quite a few records, like played first. And got plaques for some of them for playing them first. But to go from breaking music to making breaking music, it was easy. So the way it worked with us, Arabian Prince says it best. We used to DJ these massive parties. When we would DJ, it was a whole nother event. You got they chanting back, the roof is on fire, we don't need no fire, blah, 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 blah. Arabian Prince, how can we put this on a record? Not go to the studio and make a hot beat and make a record. That's some new stuff that they do now. That's not how we made music. We were already on stage performing for thousands of people. So that wasn't the issue. It was, how do we package this up and sell it outside of here? Because this is Uncle Jam's Army. We need to have some Uncle Jam's Army to sell.
Okay.
Producer culture was born then. Like when DJs became producers, producer culture was born.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
It's funny because people talk about influences. Like there were no DJs doing what I was doing, so there was no influences. I had a buddy who worked at Burger King with me, rest in peace, Tony Joseph. I was telling him how I was trying to become a DJ and everybody else was laughing. He was like, I'm a DJ. I was like, what? He said, come to my house after work. I go to Tony Joseph's house. He takes a turntable SLB1 techniques and connects it with a record changer. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's got a 8-track, a radio, a record player on top, and some other stuff. And he pulled out a device that I had never seen in my life called a mixer. I had seen a mixer, but this one had a fader in the middle that went from one to the other. I was like, what's that? Because I was mixing with Bozak mixers on knobs. So I was hella fast with the knob movement. I could whip the knob, it was because I got big fingers. So when I saw that crossfader, I was like, what's that? Then he made me a mixtape. He stood there and blended the most beautiful arrangements of records together perfectly. Was flanging, phasing, all these tricks. I was like, wow. And that's who I credit as teaching me actually how to DJ is Tony Joseph. That's the only influence I had. And we were both 18. I think we might have been 19 by this time. Or he's like maybe a year older than me, I think. And Tony is so much like African Islam. It's amazing. He even looked like him, So, I just always thought that was intriguing to me.
So I heard in one of your interviews, you didn't even like rap.
It wasn't that I didn't like rap. I loved it. I just didn't want to make it because there was no money in it. I used to play the records and the beat, but the money, like you get a rap deal, Ice-T would get a deal $125,000. We go get an R&B deal $350,000. I was like, that adds up to me. See you later, rap. And then it came back to me on the highest level. Yep.
That's crazy. So
Yeah, baby.
how did you and Ice meet? What's that story?
We met at Ice-T and I met at a club called Radio. People tend to refer to it as Radiotron, but that's from the movie. Anybody you hear talking about Radiotron and the Radiotron, they didn't go to radio. They went to stuff after the movie. So you know how there's the culture that created it, and then there's the people who find out from the movie? Like from the movie, not from the streets, not from the news, not from the newspaper. They did all that first, and then they make a movie. So these people found out from the movie. When they found out about radio, we were gone. Like that building where people go there, I'm going to go to the radio to see what that whole thing was like. We already left. We made the movie, poop, it was over. Another group came in and did this Radiotron Youth Center thing. It's different. It's not, they tend to kind of merge the legends together, but I never DJ'd at the Radiotronic except for in the movie.
So how did y'all get involved in the movie?
So I was DJing at this club Radio, and Ice-T actually came, and I was already DJing. I thought he was already MCing. We both tell the same story. Like it's like we was both there when the other one got there. And it was just, oh, you the MC? I didn't even know what an MC was. I was like, what's he doing? He's talking the whole time. And then they start rapping. So I saw, yeah, this is off the hook. Let me get on, so my time came on at 11. Short story, I met the owners when I was delivering some equipment, and they asked me my DJ name. I said, DJ Chris, I'm dope. They was like, that's not a dope name. We'll have a name for you when you come back.
Wow.
So they had it on a marquee, all the DJs. And when I say 11 p.m. the glove, I was supposed to go in at 11. For all I know is the dude in the bathroom going, man, I'm going to be a little bit late. I walked in and said, oh, the glove, that's me. Poof. If it had said hamburger alert, it would have been at 11 p.m. You would be talking to hamburger alert. But
wow.
So Ice and I were doing our thing, and as we would play, the promoters had this eclectic group of people, like Prince and Michael Jackson and Sting would come, Quincy Jones and these record executive. I knew them because I was working in that behind the scenes as a Billboard reporter. I was always in the record companies, right? So I recognized these people, and it became a thing, right? That's how the movie producers got there, to see what we were doing and make a movie about it. Breakin was a reenactment of radio. It was not a movie that they came up with out their ass and threw us in it. They walked into the club and took life and put it on film. It's really like a documentary with actors acting out a bullshit story about dancing and merging lifelines, which actually the funny thing about the reason they came up with that is because those were the type of people that were in there. You would have wealthy, Paris Hilton wealthy types. And then you would have dudes that rode their skateboard from 3 blocks away off Alvarado, the worst neighborhood where 18th Street, White Fence all combined. The worst gang violence ever. Forget about what Crips and Bloods is talking about. You know what I'm saying? Right. And here you got this mix of people. What was her name? Kelly? Kelly came to the club. Not the actress, but many Kelly types. I met a few. So, a few, actually, yeah. But, my buddy asked me, I did a show, and dude asked me the realest question. He said, did you get into DJing is this an R-rated show or is this G-rated? I'm smoking and cussing.
It's R. It's glove rated. You understand?
Got it. So he says, and I quote, did you get into, it was Donnell Watkins. Shout out to Donnell. No, Donnell Rawlings. Forgive me. I just met him. So he goes, did you get into that for the money or for the bitches? I said, the bitches. No question, bro. I had money. I got into DJing for chicks. Like, you know, I wanted to meet more people. And I felt like if I gave parties or was the party person, I would have more access. So I just that was what it was. But yeah, I met Ice at radio, and we became in that film that they shot about radio. And then I told them that I did music so that I can score the scenes, because I didn't want Africa Bambaataa making ARBs to sound like it wasn't New York. They didn't need to do the music. It should have been us. So that worked out. And then at the last minute, they said, hey, can you do one of those rap singing things to one of those tracks from one of the scenes? They did 8 songs on the album and didn't have a rap song. And it was literally the last day before mastering or something. So I had to call up Ice. And he came to the studio. We made Reckless. Like 6 hours. Shout out to Dave Stores.
And that was a beautiful, braggadocious, shit talking, educational, storytelling manifesto. You understand what I'm saying? Like I loved it. You see what I'm saying?
Surprised the hell out of me. I was like, wait, he's rapping about me.
What? So the breaking into the sound, giving the new sound, creating a new sound, breaking into the movie, giving the movie some real life, and then scoring the scenes in the movie for its authenticity. And it takes the world by storm.
Absolutely.
And then y'all do it again, part 2. How did part 2 come about?
So then part 2, I think, I'll tell you what happened, bro. Part 1 came out and made 60 million. Part 2 was on the table in 2 weeks. Like, we was filming that sucker right after they released Breakin. Bow, right back in the, hey, we need that, hey. And it got a little wilder, less real. That was Radiotron for sure. But yeah, it was amazing how quickly they threw that together and how it made another quick 35, 40 million off of it. Those movies made a grip. 30 million in 1984. 60 million in 1984. Right. That's like 60 million in 84 is like the movie came. It opened #1 and was like, it would have been like a $30 million opening today. That much. That movie would have made $200 million if it would have came out today in the same shit, same phenomenon, because it was a phenomenon. We still talking about that shit. That's deep.
Right. And people with grown children at home like, what's Breakin'?
And then they gonna go look at it and laugh at their parents and then go, this is kind of
right.
Them dudes was rebels.
Definitely. So
yes, sir.
Now you're there on the cusp of West Coast hip hop. Right there.
Yeah.
The sights, the sounds, everything. I don't think we ever really get that story. What is that story about West Coast hip hop? I know we heard some music. We might have heard of this, that. What was that discovery like? Discovering West Coast hip hop sound. You were there.
So what we did is we were listening to the records that were coming in from New York and the East Coast, and I was like, I want to make that. You know what I mean? I want to make those things. I want to make records like that. So I started, like with Reckless, it was like Planet Rock. You know what I mean? That was the hot thing. So it was that beat. And then it was, I did a couple other things for the film with Dave. Shout out to Dave Stores, who is the alien wizard engineer. And he's the original me. He taught me how to be me. He says, and I quote, I'm like, how do you learn this? He goes, I don't know. Ask questions, I guess. I said, what does that button do? You know what he told me? Turn it and find out. I turned it. Okay, so he said, wait, even better. Turn it until you find out what it sounds and then turn it back until you like it. I was like, ding, 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 ding. I started doing that with all the knobs. I don't know what the hell those frequencies mean, honestly. Like, I know now, but when I was doing my best mixing, I just turned them until I liked what I heard and then turned it back. So I heard what it did. I turned the knobs. You have to turn every knob to do this. So it makes it tedious, but it was cool because I knew what each knob did. I might not be able to tell you the numbers, but I knew high, mid, low, that's going to do this. And so I went from playing records with multi-tracks in them to learning about having multiple tracks. So when I learned that in the studio, making the music for, like, dude, I told them dudes I could make music. I had no fucking idea what to do. I had a drum machine. So my boy Victor Flores, shout out to Victor, we was making some bootleg vinyl stuff off of like mixtapes. Cats was making tapes. We was making vinyl, selling them. That shitload of them, $25. They was over there. It's always funny. Cats were like, yeah, we play chess. Yeah, y'all over there flipping tapes. Yeah, we play Chinese chess. Y'all are making tapes off of our records, homie. Like, we so far in front of you, you're using our source to source your object. Like, we planted the trees. You're using the fruit from the trees, bro. We're the trees. You don't even see us, there's so many of us. So we went from hearing multiple track records. Victor introduced me to Dave Stores in a studio. Dave knew how to make music, put my beats on, showed me also, taught me everything I know. And then went from there to self-teaching everything else. Turn the knob, what noise does it make? On everything. Every machine. Turn the knob, hear what it does, turn it back till you like it. You want to be a winner? Do that. Just hopefully your ears are super, super ears, because if you got crap ears, everything gonna sound like crap. And you're gonna have to hire me. So it was a wonderful thing to go into the making of the music and learning the layers. And that point is when hip hop became. So look, people ask me, so you were loops, you had loops, and you were blah blah blah. Like, everybody's so spoiled and entitled. We didn't have loops because there was no term for it. We called it looping. We made up the word. It was no word before we did it. There was no looping. Oh, you got samples. There was no samplers. So there was no term sampling. We used to call that looping and editing. And then somebody came up with a great idea from the MXR digital delay and said that it actually samples the part. And then they born the sampler. Akai comes with a sampler. I never even had a drum machine almost. I did Stranded on Death Row on a Akai S900 sampler. I didn't even use a drum machine. Those drums are in the I made those drum sounds from records and put them in the sampler, played them on the key. This is where hip hop was at that point. This is 1991. I had already, the 80s was like a different kind of hip hop. The 80s was like from disco to, we was finding our way. Then the end of the 80s and the 90s, we found it. This is what we want to do. So being on the front end of that is just, it's really cool because you're standing on the wave watching everybody else try to get on the wave and make it or not. You're standing on the crest of the wave in front of everyone looking back. Like, it's great.
So who did you hear or see around that time, excluding Ice, that you really had your eye on?
Bro, so I left hip hop and went to do music, and I had a young man, Ruben Cruz, RC. I thought he was like Steve Arrington. I was like, this dude here, we finna be the new Slave. Only we gonna sing about sex, but in a cool way. Like a mixture of Jodeci and BBD. And I'm a DJ, and it ain't no hip hop group with a DJ. It was like Teddy Riley was in Jodeci, or what I mean, in before Blackstreet, he was in Guy, but he wasn't a DJ. He a keyboard producer. He was like the beginning of the producer culture. Teddy, those guys. So even Leon Silver's, the third, him, because he did so many great songs. But and of course Quincy. But to be making the music we're making and then turn all around and hear what N.W.A. did on those first 2 records, which was totally different. Rap music was now quite noisy, and it was vulgar, but it was like real and raw. So I met Dre in the late 80s, like 87, something like that, 88. And oh wow, 88. We started working on some projects. I was in an R&B group. So to answer your question, I wasn't really feeling no rappers to work with. I was not doing that. It was not enough money. When we went and did this deal, they gave us like $250,000 at Epic when we signed with Ruthless. I hadn't heard no rappers get no deal like that yet. That started after N.W.A. went #1 twice. Then they started giving rappers money. That was the 90s. So, you know, them dudes came up. It was like the basketball. Magic and them didn't get paid like Jordan even didn't get paid like Kobe.
Right.
So not off of basketball. So yeah,
So
man. But
was it? Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I have nothing.
So this introduction with Dre and Ruthless, is this what brought you back into hip hop?
Can you repeat that?
I said, so this introduction with you meeting Dre and then Ruthless Records, you know, are these, you know, some of those deciding factors that brought you back into hip hop?
Okay, so I'm still on the R&B thing, right? I got Dre on my record, you know, for the remix with the rapper, which was the hot thing to do. Dre wasn't on nothing but No More Lies, so we finna pop, right? And when he rapped over that, I was like, like I hadn't had a rapper rap. Now, mind you, I was still working on rap. I had a couple of guys that I was working with in the cut, like Step One and a few others, but it was anything that I wasn't really trying to go get money for. I was just trying to get that R&B off because the money was there. So when Dre signed me and he rapped over that, I started kind of hanging out with him, and you know, he was the rapper that brought me over there. Like him, it was him. He said he wanted to make this music, and we did something on John Singleton, a sample. He had done quite a few samples in the N.W.A, but we were leaning in another direction. He was getting into a groove. And so I used to tell him, bro, you need to just forget the samples. Let's buy these keyboards and the ARP Odyssey, the Mini Moog, Fender Rhodes, the 88. Let's buy them. And then we can, like, for instance, if I wanted to be Prince, I would go get Omni, Matrix, everything. And I played him horn. All he did was play horn parts on the keyboard. That's the horn parts on an electric keyboard. He was a front runner because they just came out. So he was the first one that, hey, I could play. Oh, that's that lick. Even James Brown licks, they play them on their guitar. That's why the keyboard has a Strat and all that. For the early keyboards got Strat in them because cats tried to use them for guitars because they couldn't get a guitarist. They chinks and stuff. So, you know, when Dre say, you know what, you're right, and then beyond that, not only can we get the instruments, but we can get Bernie Worrell and George Clinton, and let's get the guys. When you have an unlimited budget, you can do incredible things. Yeah.
So Michelle, everybody, you brought the who's and the what's and how, like, so y'all developing the sound that we now call G-Funk. You see what I'm saying? Like, we call it G-Funk now, but it was just creation at the time in the raw sense with endless possibilities and with people with visions and minds that move out the circumstances. All this shit is going on, you know, outside, but the inside is not affected by the outside until it's affected. The inside creeps the outside creeps into the inside and starts to change things. So it's just interesting.
I hear you. So like in my world, the outside is a reflection. It's always after. This, what we're experiencing now is I've already had it in my head. Like, so it's the opposite of what you said. It's actually the inside affects the outside. The inside creates the outside, and you're experiencing outwardly what has happened inside. Like when you stub your toe, you did something in your brain happen that caused that outward reaction for tomorrow to remind you of something or to exercise some sort of subconscious desire. It's bananas how your brain works. This stuff we looking at, it's like a replay. Okay, so how about this? How come every day is today? How come it's never tomorrow or yesterday? It's always today. Go to bed and you're going to wake up and it's going to be today.
Right.
So if it's always today, you always have a chance to change. Because that yesterday shit was yesterday. It's today. I don't let the outside affect the inside anymore. That's not how that works with me.
So you there with the Chronic. So y'all putting that together. What's that journey like?
You're breaking up. I didn't hear that either. Can you repeat?
I said, so y'all are creating, what we would know later on as the Chronic. What was that journey like?
All I heard was as the Chronic. Okay, what was the journey like?
Creating the Chronic, making the Chronic
there you go.
Album.
Yes. So, man, I'm gonna tell you, bro. The Chronic album, it was recorded in a few places, mixed in a couple of places. Mostly, we mixed it at Larrabee. Man, that was a hell of a journey. Like when Dre basically, he had that planned all the way out, looked like. I mean, from standing outside, because I was in it, but I was outside. I mean, Dre, let me just give you an example. He was so driven. He came to me and said, I want you to produce this song. And he gave me the title, gave me the stuff to use, said, go get this record, sample that, sample this, blah, 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 blah. Like I was a remote control, bro. I used to say that. So I went, did it, came back. That's perfect. We laid it. We're going to put these people on it. Wait, I got Bushwick Bill in town. Should he do the intro? Let's lay him and see what it sounds like. Of course, that always means I got Bushwick Bill in town. We going to do the intro with him. His should is to himself. You just happen to hear him say it sometimes. He never looked at me for an answer of anything of that magnitude. Like, should I? No. Dr. Dre know what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was the studio sessions like? It had to be crazy because everybody is they're at their most hungry. You see what I'm saying? Like you get everybody there. You get to see them in that element. And again, this is a contributing factor to West Coast sound. N.W.A, Ice-T, you see what I'm saying? They're there. And then now this comes in. This is a whole other contributing sound. You see what I'm saying? With respect and ode to what came before it. So what's that session? Because I remember the tape, I remember the album, I remember hearing, Bushwick Bill, yes, this is I says me. You understand what I'm saying? Like you already going someplace with that. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then you said, let's take a walk down this path called Stranded on Death Row. Corrupt is in there going fucking bananas. You see what I'm saying? Like that was the craziest setup.
All of the Death Row inmates are on that bad boy, right?
Yeah. RBX.
Tell you, man.
First time I heard Radio Ray nuts. You know what I'm saying? And then I hear Snoop and I was like, man, this is crazy. This is
They
crazy.
nonstop.
So the
Nothing but
onlooker,
talent
the
after
listener, we going crazy. Really. Right.
So the sessions,
Right.
man, they was bananas. Like these cats were so creative. They were so hungry. They would just write. So it took like DLC would say, okay, you got to write a verse. You know 16 bars? No. So Doc would say, look, give me this paper. Count 16 lines and then stop. This last line, make it sound like the end. And they were like, okay. Next thing you know, blah, 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 blah. A gang of dope ass verses popped up.
Right.
We started recording them. I mean, damn. All we kind of did was make music and hold on. Like, and all they did was make raps and hold on, because they was like loving the music like we was loving the raps. It was like literally you can hear that was a love fest. You can hear the music, you can hear the raps, you can hear how much fun we were having on the record. It was a party. It was always a bunch of people in there. When we did G Thing, actually I didn't even work on that. I walked in and it was recorded at Dre's house in Malibu. I walked in there and it was a party. They listened to it 507 times in a row. You know, that kind of stuff. I mean, when we did What's My Name, we had 30 people in the room doing hand claps. You know what I mean? It was dope. Dre was with that. Like, that's what it was.
All of that
we could have
translated
sampled hand claps, but
right.
Man, we're gonna have to get you a Wi-Fi booster, because I'm hearing every third word like the Terminator.
That's crazy. Let me
there you go. I heard that clear.
you hear the ad lib and not the rap.
Exactly. I need the rap, bro. You good now? So what was the last thing you asked me? You were saying, you made a comment. I wanted to jump on that.
Oh yeah, I was saying like this is resonating in the world. It's a difference hearing MCs. I was like, they wasn't together making this. Because growing up listening to what that shit sounds like when everybody's they're there, they hungry.
Yeah.
You're not about to outdo me, right? In my shit, blah, blah, blah. All of those things are coming together like, nah, you're not about to do. You know what I'm saying? And you're there with everybody that set the bar so damn high. Like I'm listening to the Chronic and I still hear Rage right now. Come with the wickedness. Come, you understand what I'm saying? Like I still hear her in my head. You see what I'm saying? So it's like she's got this whole thing going on. Everybody's got their whole thing in this introduction, and there's some shit between rappers. So you're listening. I'm listening to the lyrics like, oh shit. Some brothers like lynching. I just watch him hang. I said, "Ooh, shit! This is disrespectful as fuck, but it's dope." You understand what I'm saying? Like, so
that's like when you dunk on somebody. It's disrespectful as hell, but it's dope.
Right. It's dope. So in that season, if we could talk about it a little bit, what was the atmosphere like? You know, in the midst of everything was going on. For you.
We had Rodney King. We had
I
think no, that OJ thing was, I think, 96. But Rodney King was 92. And the riots, and we were standing out on my balcony, me and Dre, looking at the city burn. I had an apartment in Palms. He was living in Calabasas, Agoura. So he would come down, hang with us in the regular part of LA. And we was tripping off of that, just that, looking at the city on fire. And, we just kept putting that into the music. It just, you can't help it. It just was going in. It was just like, so recently this George Floyd issue, which happens every day. And they just decided to inflame it upon the neck because they were trying to dictate stock prices and whatnot. So, when you're being manipulated, you should at least know. At least the Chinese don't watch the news mostly because they say it's propaganda, and then Americans haven't figured that out yet. Like, think about that, bro. Every news station tells you what they want you to know, not what they want you to hear, what they want you to know. The Crier used to just tell you what happened. These dudes telling you different stories. So anyway, The thing with the Rodney King and all of the George Floyds, they cause, like new music we're doing, it's influenced, but not maybe lyrically directly, but the lyrics are influenced. They just not saying, yeah, XYZ about George Floyd, but they are inspired by what happened and saying some words that a person like Young Black Man, you or myself will clearly hear, and it's saying that. You know what I mean? They may say, do the knowledge radio, but we know that means, yeah, we got to support George Floyd. You feeling me?
Right.
So during that era of that time and those elements, we were able to encapsulate the whole time frame in the music, like the smells, the air, the feel, the vision. It's all in that music together. Like if you go put that on with some headphones, you're going to be in 1992. Bye-bye.
That is definitely what happened. That is definitely what happened. So from the record to the tape to the Walkman to the Discman, you see what I'm saying? Like all of those experiences, but nothing beats putting on them headphones. With headphones, you can hear everything else. If the radio's on, you can hear the lyrics or the beat. You have to choose. The radio's on. It's like, all right, put these headphones on. You go. If you're listening, you go all the way in. It's like, oh man, hearing this, I hear the horns you talking about. At the beginning, on Stranded at Death Row, you should have said like, I can hear the horn. I was so accustomed just listening, for the lyrics because I'm from the East Coast, so it was like a lyrical thing. So you hear that, and then you get a chance to hear all of the other stuff that's there, with the headphones, because you're trapped, like you're in some place in space in your head, like you hear all of these other things, like what's that melody, like what's that, damn this shit, what is, you point to all of that, like damn, like so you put all this together, and it's on a time release, so when you're ready to hear it, you hear it. Now you can't unhear it after you heard it. So it's not just the lyrics that are there, it's everything that's in there, So you go from the Chronic album. Wait, before we leave the Chronic album, was there anything else on the album that you contributed to or you were responsible for that you could tell us?
Well, I mean, we worked on a lot of songs together, but that song, Stranded on Death Row, I was told to go make. So yeah, that's the one that I created the elements for Dre on that specifically. Other songs I mix, I'll add parts, play keys, different things. The Chronic, I did that. All that stuff was just, man, there's so many people. Colin Wolf worked on everything. 187 I worked on with them. With that Chronic album, though, it was the mixing and the sounds and the layering and just making it sound how it did. And the choice of the instruments and the recording, it was just all of that. And Dre did most of that either at his home, like G-Thing and all of that, or at Solar, which was with Dick Griffey. And, that's what Death Row, that was where our home studio was. So we had us our own personal SSL. Can-Am came into play later. I had used Can-Am, and I told Dre about Can-Am and took him up there, and then they ended up leasing it for a year, years later. It was perfect. But yeah, the Chronic, that was a encapsulation of time and space. That it was amazing how you can play it and you know how people felt.
Now you give us.
I heard the ad lib. Run that by me again.
I said, so now we go from the Chronic to Doggystyle. And you give us one of the greatest songs in the universe, Doggy Dogg World.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I need to know. I need to know some shit, because whatever you did gave me one of Corrupt's most memorable lyrical experiences? You did it with Stranded on Death Row, and then you then you doubled up. Was like, all right, hear this shit, and then we get this verse from Corrupt. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you get that verse from Corrupt on Stranded on Death Row. You get this verse, you know, like an upgrade of the verse before it with a longer reach, and you got to pick through all of that to get all of that. You see what I'm saying? Shit, what did you do? I need to know some shit.
How about Corrupt is on all my beats except one? Corrupt is on Xplosive too, serving that shit. So the Doggy Dogg World was, Dre had the beat going, right? It was the drums. They was rocking, and the bass player was playing the bass. He was playing the bass. But it was, Dre was like cool with it, but he didn't, it wasn't that. Gin and juice, you know, all that. We wasn't trying to do that on this one. He wasn't. He wanted the bass to kind of slump more with the, so he said, Glove, play that on the move. So I started playing the bass. So we laid the bass down. You know, now, I don't know, people, dude asked me this the other day. So it was like, you sequence. I was like, that's another one of those words, sequence. Like, even though we had the MPC, it was a drum machine and sample player. We didn't play our keyboards into that and then record that into the tape. That's dumb. Why do that twice? Play live. So when I play the whole song all the way through 5 minutes, you know, all the parts. So played the bass. He was like, okay, I like it. Add some parts. So play the keyboard part, rolls, some little high, little sounds, some different little, and then he put the guitar on there. And shit, we were waiting on, mixing it up, waiting on the dramatics. It was going to come through because Dre wanted to have it ready for them. And these cats came and rapped. Killed it. Killed it. Look, those, like all these songs. Okay, so Stranded on Death Row, we did it in like one day, like 6 hours. We call a day like 8 hours, maybe 10, because we fuck around and shit. It ain't no 12 hours straight working. We get in there and do what we got to do. So these are 1 day jobs, not including the mixing, but like the recording, 1 day. So they're like not one take, but better than one take. Like they just do them and they're done. When they walk out, they finish. And they're not in there long. It took them longer to write it down than it took them to say it.
I could imagine. That look, like that whole symphonic alchemy shit that y'all did together for that, like, y'all motherfuckers know me. Y'all know who I am. My name Tie Down. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the shit that's all there together. Like it's separate and together at the same fucking time. So it's like all of it with that all together. You see what I'm saying? So and then the video put you in a whole nother space. So if you never know what that whole players ball situation is looking like, and you know how this goes and all this all together, I was like, it's too many elements there, you know. And then you get some classic Snoop before the shit even comes on. You see what I'm saying? Like all the way.
It's a moment. It's a happening.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You got these moments in life, and we get to record them.
That's it. I still hear the lyrics in my head. You know, I'm rapping them and I'm talking to you at the same time. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, 2 classic albums, timeless. You know, amazing, and then Death Row comes alive with all of this other shit that's going on. You know, what was that like? So now the volume is on a whole nother fucking level now. Like, what is that like now? So what's your day-to-day, you know, purview of this situation, you know, from that time?
Wow. So yeah, shit. Well, from jump, you know, Death Row was like, first we had to break loose from Ruthless, so that was drama. And then, you know, we had to get set up and get a name, and that was drama. And then we made records, and that was drama all through the while. And then it was over. It was all drama. It was like being in a reality TV show about bitches, hoes, money, cars, studio time. And I'm cool. It was crazy. Trust me. You hear that?
Tupac comes to Death Row. Right. Yeah, right. So Tupac comes to Death Row. What's that like for you?
Like that's just like, now you just took everything I just said and like all the shit that was happening, and then they just put like, imagine that was like a weight and it was just balanced on the scale, 2 scales, like perfect, right? And then somebody threw a brick and knocked the scale down. Like they didn't just put one weight on one side, they knocked the whole motherfucker over. Blah! That was Tupac. He came in selling 10 million copies, bang, of a double album. Niggas don't realize that. They always go, oh, 10 million, that's 20 million. Boy, that's 2 albums. It's lots of money there. So, you know, it was like being gorillas in the midst of everything. It was just, I'm telling you, man, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Tale of two cities right there. Man. So how did you make it through the transition times of everything? You know, because some people passed, you know, you lost Easy, we lost Tupac, you know, Biggie, you know, all in that time frame, and you still have to be creative. How did you make it, you know, on a personal level through those times with those losses and, you know, continue to be creative?
The best thing was, the best thing was making sure that you were cool. You know what I mean? Just making sure your mind was straight and everything was okay. And just taking care of your family and just trying to make music without dying. There was a lot of other stuff happening. People running in studios and, oh my, quite a bit. LA, plus I was still DJing. It was dangerous there. All the way up to 98 when I had my brain surgery and kind of semi-retired briefly and went over to television. It was bananas. That's when I met Eminem. You know, he came through and said, hey, you know, if it weren't for Reckless, I never would have rapped, and told me how I heard him tell Ice-T that same thing on The Art of Rap. And but he told me that I'm holding my 3-year-old daughter, Ciara, at the time, and then right after that I go in the hospital for the brain surgery, so I didn't get to work on the record. But it's all good, man. I'm always there, so I'm part of the music fabric. So anybody that makes music, I'm part of it.
From Ice-T to Nipsey Hussle.
I'm saying from to whoever to Billy Ellis and whoever else is in a basement making music. Part. We're all like, so trip this, like how, you know how you like a song and I like a song and a lot of us like the same song, you know, those are hits or whatever. That's how we are, man. We're part of that song. We all like that song. So that song's part of us. We're connected. That's how life is. Your music really does connect people.
Yes. Before we get to the Chronic, 2001, I want to ask about one of my favorite albums. You know, Daz and Corrupt come out with Dog Food in the midst of everything that's going on. Dog Food and Murder Was the Case soundtrack Above the Rim soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? Like you there during all of those times too. I don't want to leave them, off of the table. So, were you involved with any of those projects?
So Above the Rim, yeah, I worked on. I had a song actually that was going on that soundtrack, my group, and worked with Dre on there, different capacities. I mean, it was like going to work every day. What we doing? We worked on all that stuff at the same time. Everything except dog food. That was Daz and Corrupt's thing. They did that. Daz did some songs on Snoop's album. As much as you hear Corrupt rapping, you may hear Daz a few of his tracks. Same thing. So it was a great time. Everybody was talented. The other songs, like the other records, like I worked on California Love on Tupac, the original, not the remix that they put with the clear sample, but the Joe Cocker thing. And then, but, I was mostly involved directly with Dre. So, whatever he was doing, I was doing. So we were kind of joined a lot at the hip mostly. Like I didn't work on other people's stuff. They tried that some, but it's not. I don't play well with others. Yeah. I don't. I end up dunking on my own team members. But they don't move out the way like, yo, I'm coming to the basket. Y'all need to move.
So you start off with the movie, you go to the music, then you transition into TV. What's that shift like going from that side of production to this side of production? Or was it seamless?
Oh yeah, for me to do well. I mean, okay, so it's a learning curve with everything. So when I got into television music, I had never seen how it was done, so I had to figure out how to take that VHS tape they just gave me and take my drum machine and put music in this drum machine that you can play in that VHS tape. I was like. And then I figured it out. I showed my homie too. Shout out to K-Mac, Keith Bowles. He came up to the studio, was like, what is this? I said, watch this. I hit play on the VCR and it had time code. I had them send it to me with SMPTE on the left. So the SMPTE I used to run the MPC, and the MPC ran everything else. And I was like, look, I pushed the scene, the music came on. He was like, how the hell did you figure that out? Now, mind you, what I did was way wacky. I ended up figuring out a better way to do it, way better and faster, but that was just crazy to figure out. So then once I realized that if you're in a reality television, damn this camera, television is an alternate reality. So, I was in this reality being the music. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to just try to make the same kind of music that I make all the time. And music on television has gotten progressively better since we got involved. Instead of the white guys trying to make hip hop, it's hip hop guys that made legendary records making TV music, which is their mistake. I keep telling cats, stop trying to make TV music. Just make music. Oh, this will be dope for TV. Nigga, how do you know what's dope for TV, bro? You ain't got no songs on TV. You watch TV, so you know what's dope on TV. Like, people be saying shit, bro. For real, like, we are arrogant as fuck as a species. We always think our idea is the best one, even if somebody go off and make $1 trillion with the other idea. Well, my shit's doper.
Right.
The hell is that?
So do you remember what you worked on first and, what that experience is like once you cracked the code?
Which, as far as first of what?
First TV show.
So once I went into television, I worked with a great composer. He had all the black TV shows. The first show I did was the Parkers. I did that for 5 years.
Huh.
I did all the music on the Parkers. You ever watch the Parkers?
Hell yeah.
I played all that music all the music. You know, like as a co-composer, like the stuff that was, you could tell, trust me. When you listen to it, a young dude made that. You know, so yeah, you was listening to it and watching it, and it was cool. And I mean, we did Girlfriends, we did One-on-One, All of Us, Eve. I did like the Michael Vick show, Tiny and Toya, Frankie and Neffy, Played by Fame. Hell, bros, lots of TV shows. And then we had placements on all the other ones. If we didn't do the composing, we got songs on them. This guy Kurt was a monster. So the first thing I did was the Parkers. That was actually what I was hired for. Then I went on to a show called All of Us, which is Will Smith. He had a show with Shakes in it. Then I did a show called One-on-One, which was What's that dude's name?
Flex.
Yeah, Flex.
Yeah.
And then I did Eve, and I did a Holly Robinson Peach show. A lot of shows, man. A lot of shows. That's really good money, that thing there. I mean, so it's like going from making masterpieces to making hamburgers at McDonald's. Like your music went from one masterpiece that's timeless to you need 100 of them hamburgers for these shows. You know what I mean? McDonald's is rich, so
right.
Yeah, that's what it's like though, and it's a fun thing because then I worked on shows like American Soul as a music consultant, Ambition. That's not me, bro. You got motorcycles outside your house, huh? They just sold your bike. Man, they gone. So yeah, man, it was I lost track, but it was a wonderful time and easy to do once you learn the code of television. And it's absolutely the opposite of for instance, one thing that cats don't understand is like in hip-hop, you want the bright, tight, sparkly stuff louder so it shimmers. In television, all that bright, sparkly stuff gets in the way of dialogue, and it sounds like somebody hitting your speaker with a hammer and a tack. Like, you don't want that. So you mix television the opposite of what you mix a record. Like, you know how you want the bass to be bumping? On the TV, everybody ain't got a bumping bass. They just got that little speaker. So you want it to be able to be heard on that little speaker. You don't mix like you mixing for, an N.W.A. album. It's actually opposite. You think that when you play strings, you would add, what would be the sound that you would want to add to strings first? If you heard a violin, you would think that it wasn't bright enough. Most people think that. The objective is to not add that. You darken it, and then it cuts through, more visible on TV because you have a medium of this to go along with these when you're watching TV. So you can trick people with stuff musically. Whereas when you just listen to the radio, all you got is this and your imagination.
Damn. So did you ever think about teaching a course, or writing some books, or doing some bio about your experience? Is there something like that coming?
Well, what I decided was, I was like, well, look, I mean, you know what a deep fake is?
No.
So a deep fake is an AI generated image that looks exactly like, I can take your face and put Tom Cruise on it, and it'll be Tom Cruise, literally. It's really scary. So the reason I'm going to do a series of visuals for my children. I'm not going to tell anybody in this planet how I do this music with a camera running. I will teach a course, but once they get me recording, telling my tricks, that's when you're done, bro. You done told it, and it's recorded. What they need you for? Never again. No, I'll never make a master class. I don't even like the name of that master class. That sounds like some slave shit is going on. Because if there's a master, them dudes ain't never in the class. I don't see no masters. The guy teaching is a master. No, he getting paid. So, I mean, I understand the concept of mastership of an art, but that's not what we call it. Like, this kung fu is mastering, master, grandmaster. Music don't have that. Now they're teaching art. So yeah, bro, don't let them record you, man. You'll be fucked. But I will teach a university course. I would love that. And lecture. No cameras. You're stealing my soul.
Right.
They're taking your kids' money with that.
No shit. So what about a book?
Look up deep fake when you get a chance. That's a trip too, because Jay-Z got one. I forgot his name. But this dude looks like him, talks like him. It wrote a song, rapped it. Music, everything. The AI made it. Did it to Travis Scott too.
That's crazy. That is crazy as hell.
That shit crazy.
So are you sliding your talents into the movie arena, or you already done that?
Yeah, I've done quite a few movies and television movies and all of those, but I'm gonna start I write, and I've been writing short stories, and I'm doing some literary things. I'm actually I'm gonna recite a series of books. I'm gonna be the narrator and read them. So that's a new thing that I'm doing. I just love knowledge. And if people are putting their stuff down, like I may write down information, and then you can read it. But, and that's not the same because someone has to teach it. If you standing there telling them how to do it on the camera, next thing comes this. Because they get all the money. They own the tape. That's a quick death. No master classing. Or you teach them some old shit. Then when they go to do it, they be like, oh, there's more. Oh, yeah, that's master class too, homie. Like, I'm keeping my master class open. I'm not going to be, oh, you got me. You're frozen. I'm playing.
So you got any closing remarks, for the family before we go?
I heard the last.
Oh, snap. Shout out to the chat. How the fuck did I forget that?
Man, I didn't hear a word you said, man. This is bad. I got all my bars, though. There you go. One more time.
The Firm album. I said shout out to the chat. Yeah. How the hell did I miss that shit? I'm like, phone tap. What? I had to, what? That's like the grand finale. Like, how the fuck did the Firm album, phone tap.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Phone tap was fun. Phone tap, Xplosive off of the 2001, Hello off King, what was it? Ice Cube. I think it's on N.W.A. is on one of those records, War and Peace or whatever. Yeah, those are. Phone tap was fun, man. That was, I was driving somebody else's car. There's a drum machine at the studio with different sounds in it, and I took my loop and sampled it through the DAT. Now these terms exist, loop, sample, stuff. So I couldn't get the beat down when I was working on it in LA, and then I finally had these drums that were fantastic. So I jumped on that bitch. And then Dre had a knack of you could work on the headphones on the MP in the back, but or really not in the back, but right there to the side. And if if they saw you working, they would just hit a button or the MPC. Everything's wired up to the SSL. Turn the volume all the way up and embarrass most guys because they would have bullshit playing. So he said, what glove got cooking? He turned that shit all the way up and phone tap came up. Them niggas was like, I'm not frozen. And then they was like, next thing I knew, the door whipped open and here come Nas and AZ and the track master Tone and Poke up the stairs. I'm like, them niggas don't even rap. They all came in and like, what the hell is that? And them niggas sat on the front and started writing. Plop. That shit was hard. Thanks, dudes. I know that's who said it. Yeah, look, I got Doobie over here killing the chat.
I almost glossed over that shit. Like that wasn't an experience and a significant emotional hip hop event in my fucking life. Phone tap.
Yeah, phone tap happened all together at the moment. Like, boom. Here's the record. Yeah. What's the dilly?
This touchdown, down the Philly border power with me. Fast forward underground silly.
I still get good. Ride a pound with me. Fast floating around Philly. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Trying to find land. Damn, nigga. Telling you, bro. Hip hop is definitely fun. To make it, to listen to it. I mean, I don't, misogynistic or not, or, violence or drugs, all withstanding. That's part of society. I don't really condone or care for that part of it, but the overall hip hop feeling that you get, your freedom and your rebelliousness that you get to exude and all of the different, flavors that are in it. I can't think of too many, like country music they don't even want to accept like Lil Nas X. Like they don't even have different flavors. It's just twang.
Right.
So, hey, shout out to all my hip hop and R&B and music makers on this great planet. My mom.
Xplosive. I gotta have a moment like I did with phone tap for Xplosive because that shit right here, you understand what I'm saying? Like that. One of the greatest instrumentals ever made.
Oh, thank you.
For the artists and for everybody who think they can rap. When Xplosive comes on, everybody thinks that they can rap. Like they forget that they can't. You understand what I'm saying? So like you hear that, you hear that, and then you hear, Bag Lady. You see what I'm saying? Like you hear that, adaptation of it. But you hear it though. Yeah. It's like it puts you in that soulful, and look, and then Corrupt again. look, Corrupt, like Corrupt. Well, we need a healthy dose of Corrupt. We hear boom right here. You see what I'm saying?
Right there, Corrupt. Wow. Yeah.
I said shit.
Corrupt was on Puffin' on Blunts too. I did that one.
Oh snap. Yeah. That's how.
Yeah, man. Corrupt, that's my dude.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, Glove did that. Let me fuck with that." Like he used to creep around and be like, "What you doing, Glove? I'm fucking with your beats. I only got 2. I'm fucking with."
And y'all get the Doobie Man out there. Y'all get the Doobie Man. Y'all get Devin, the motherfucking dude on it.
Right. He came in sounding all cool and southern and shit.
Hey.
I'm expecting Devin the dude to go, bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee, yay. Like, he's so cool as shit. He's like a cool baby Snoop.
Right. With the greatest stories in the world. You believe every word that he said. Whether he made it up then.
True, man. Of course you believe.
No, that's not a no. That just happened. Let me tell you the story about this bitch.
Hey,
I used to know.
That song was a true story. I know
nobody know. I said, shit. I bet you didn't know.
I know the players, homie.
Crazy.
I did. It's funny. Our raps, they be about real people. Like always. Never sometime. It's always some shit that really happened.
Damn. Then y'all get Nate Dogg on there to destroy the whole game. Nate is over there like that. Like we know gangsters. We know tough guys. We know whatever kind of people. Everybody is singing Nate Dogg's part in the joint. You see what I'm saying? Like everybody.
Everybody.
While the West Coast goes along. Like I've been in Germany, I've been in, a couple places overseas, touring around, with the military. And you hear everybody, whether they speak English or they don't speak English, they're singing Nate Dogg's part. You understand what I'm saying? Like
right. Exactly.
So and then go back to no English right after, So it's like
right.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Yes.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, my brother. Let me see. What is this? Oh yeah, sorry about that. Are you still with me? Did I lose you? There you go.
I'm here.
Let's see. Yes, sir.
This has been a fantastic voyage. For real. It's been a fantastic
yes,
voyage.
Sir.
I got to have you back.
Shout out to some of my less famous Chico and Cool Water, my boy Huey. I got some new artists I'm working with, Dizzy and Daniel Church. Shout out to all of the people who don't get mentioned. Shout out to Q. This cat's from 1500 to nothing, one of the dopest keyboard and guitar and bass and everything else players.
Damn.
I got a squad, bro. We finna take over the music just for people who want good music. Anybody that want other stuff, they won't like ours.
Yeah, that other shit is plentiful out here. You can step on shit if you want to step in shit. You can't say, "Hey, I ain't find no shit to step in," because it's in the box.
This is shit right there. Yep. Watch out for that shit.
So you got some words of wisdom
boy.
For those who are looking to get into the production world, the production universe. Before we go,
main thing I can tell someone that's into this business of ours would be to be true to your word as you can, do your best, and then you can't let other people's feelings influence what you're trying to do. Like if you got a music or beat or whatever the hell it is, lyrics, song, whatever, concept, fucking idea. That's your idea, bro. You had it. So tell it. And, people come in and try to, that's not, or that's whack. Like, that's just individuals having their idea and input on you. Put it out to everybody. Let everybody tell you it's whack first. Don't listen to anybody what they say. Make the music you want to make. Like, find who believes in you and you can trust. And listen to that person, but you can listen to yourself. Just dig inside and pay attention. You'll be fine, especially if you're making music, because who can tell you how to make the music you want to make? So you go and do you. Don't listen to the outside. That's my advice.
And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about keys to longevity.
Oh, damn. I heard remiss, and that was it. I would be remiss.
I said I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about keys to longevity, maintaining a successful career.
I would say the key to longevity is being true to your word and always doing your best. If you keep doing those two things, and don't take nothing personal, that's very important in the music industry. If you do that, you're going to do fine. Yeah, that's longevity like a motherfucker. Trust me. I mean, hey, everybody talk that hip hop is a young man game shit. That's bullshit. This ain't the NBA. You don't gotta run laps. We sit on our ass most of the time. It might be young to be on tour, but for what we do, the older you get, the more go in your brain. How you gonna be better with less? How does that work? Those dudes are not. They're doing what they're doing, and they have accumulated. Some people have accumulated more than what I know in less time. So that, but if you have less accumulation of a thing, then you're a lesser being of that thing until you catch up to the other accumulated knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Accumulated. Excuse me. So, whatever, man. I used to tell my buddies, we was a soul kitchen, right? They used to talk about this beat, who was hot, that beat, who was the dopest, who could make the dopest beat, blah, blah, blah. So I said, look, man, me and Dre would sit there and I'll be like, look, man, all I know is if I turned off the electricity, let's just see who can make a beat. Because none of y'all know how to turn that SSL on over there. Y'all niggas talking that shit. I take away your power and you can't do nothing. They got real quiet.
With Glove,
I want to say
go ahead.
Thank you for having me. And you can find me on YouTube at DJ ChristheGlove or on Instagram at ChristheGlove, one word, and I'm on Facebook, ChristheGlove Taylor. Shout out to the Do the Knowledge Radio. I love that. And I got Knowledge Born Allah. I'm chopping it up with you. Shout out to Knowledge Born Allah. You're listening to Do the Knowledge Radio right here on YouTube. Glove is out.
Great. I love it. Man, shout out to Jeff, man, for setting this up. This was an amazing walk down memory lane with a legend, the Glove. Y'all seen him. Y'all heard him. And look forward to more conversations like this here on Do the Knowledge Radio. Make sure you go to www.youtube.com/Do the Knowledge Radio. That's DOTHAKNOWLEDGERADIO. Shout out to Samuel Beats Bomb Brand. Shout out to Doobie for saving the day. Shout out to all my family that came through and showed love. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Shout out to BTP Media Group, my brother Jeff, man, for putting this together. And there is more and more and more in store. Tell a friend to tell a friend to like, share, comment, subscribe. Yeah.